Showtime. We are live, Scott.
We are live on a Tuesday night. It is the new year, our second show of the new year, and welcome everybody to As We See It with Lynn and Scott.
Yes, welcome to the Scott Show. I can't even talk here. New day,
Play
new
the
year.
intro, and we'll warm up our lips.
Yeah, there we go. We'll be right back.
Grab your friends, find your enemies and make amends, and we'll meet in the middle. Take the pride and set it aside. My hands will build you a shield, and we'll solve the riddle. And we'll remember these times, we'll remember these times. Oh, 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 oh. And we'll remember these times, we'll remember these times.
I love that song. Hey,
There
everybody.
we go.
We are back. It's the Lynn and Scott Show. Welcome back.
It's us. All right.
It is us. And I've got to brag. Hey, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. We were talking. We're very much unscripted, but we do say, what do we want to talk about? And we really had fun talking about this topic. And so we wanted to bring a fun title to it. And we want you to know, we want to ask you, do you know how awesome you are? I mean, I know it sounds like egotistical, and that's not what we're talking about, but truly, I mean, we go without, sometimes it's funny, like we can see our, other people can see our talents more so than we can see it in ourselves.
Yes.
You know? And like you're a graphic designer for a long time too. So I shouldn't be surprised at what I saw you do the other day. And I'm not, but I'm still like, wow, 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 wow. And
Well,
I'm talking about, go ahead.
no, you're absolutely right. And the funny thing is, we're constantly looking around, we're watching other people, and we're saying, wow, look what they can do, and look what they can do. And rarely do we take a moment and sit back and say, what can I do? What are the things that I do on a daily basis? Maybe it's being a great cook. Maybe it's being just a friendly person or a funny person. Maybe it's your drawing or art or writing. It could be anything. But we spend so much time looking at others, you know, but everybody's got talent. Everybody's got talent.
Listen, I've got to do a shout out to my friend Lenny. He's a retired federal agent. This man has had, oh my gosh, his career and the things he's done and places he's been. He's an amazing guy. But this guy, he has a lot of talent. He's an amazing guy. Lenny, thanks for being here. And hi, Michael, thanks for being here too. But oh my gosh, Lenny, he's got a lot of talent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Everybody's got talent. We just have to
And you know what?
embrace it and stop comparing. You know what they do? You know what people do, Lynn, is they look at other people and they want their talent to be just like theirs, and it never will be. It never
Yeah,
will be. And then we immediately think we don't have talent instead of realizing we've got our own talents, our own style, and our own way of doing things.
absolutely.
Oh
Oh,
wow, look at those people.
we got
Lenny, Michael, Scott, our man Scott. How you doing, brother?
Scott from the other side of Florida or something like that. So,
Yeah, that's right.
but this topic, as far as what are you talented, I just gotta say this right now. What was it? Dang, I was
I was wanting to
flying.
be just like Scott. Well,
No,
Scott, you are just like Scott. You've done it.
well,
You are just like Scott.
okay. Let's just show this right now. Scott said last week he was going to start doing some paintings, and you guys, okay, so he's done some graphic designing, and let's talk about your mom really quick. She's not here yet, but through COVID, your mom. Explain that real quick about your mom.
Yeah, my mom, she didn't want to go out. I mean, she was a little bit older, but, still very young. But during COVID, she didn't want to go out and get sick and everything else, just like everyone else. And she was kind of like in the house, and she didn't have much to do. And she decided, well, I always like doing arts and crafts. So why don't I try painting? And she actually started painting rocks, and she started painting like little messages of hope and goodwill on these little tiny rocks and then giving them to the neighbors and stuff. And then she said, well, let me see if I could do a canvas. I've never done that. And she got some canvases and she started painting. Well, in about a year and a half that she's been doing it, she is now doing commission work for people, painting their pets. She's actually excellent at that is Therese. Yeah, I saved that one. I almost called my mom old, but I did not. I said,
Yeah.
she's quite young. Thanks, Therese.
Hi, Teresa.
So she started doing these paintings and she ended up being really good with the cats and dogs and things like that. And she's really good. She likes the landscapes and her gnomes are great. She paints gnomes that are just so cool and perfect. But I know she did a picture for Teresa of Teresa's dog, Coco. I think it's still in the mail because it got caught up in the storm up north. So it might not be delivered yet, but hopefully Teresa will be getting that soon. But that's what happened. Now she has this thing. She built a studio in the back of the house, and she is painting every freaking day, and it's beautiful work.
I did get a painting that your mom did, and I wish I had it here, but I'll have it on the next show. But the reason why I bring that up about your mom, I wanted to show that and you know what? Why don't you grab something from your mom?
Actually, the paintings right behind me there on the wall are stuff by my mom.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, folks, because if you'll look, Scott this past week, and some of you may have seen it because he's on your friends list now, but check out this painting that he did. Check this out. Look at that. That's his first painting. It's
my first time
awesome
ever grabbing a paintbrush. And of course, I'm a huge rock and roll guy. And I decided to start with the first one, the king himself, Elvis. And I wanted to do a pop art style. And I just had fun with it. And it's not perfect. It's flawed in many, many ways, but it was fun. And it's my creativity. And I can't wait to do more. Yeah. Lenny said, Elvis has left the building. No, he's right here. He left the building, but he's right here. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. But I decided I'm going to do a whole rock and roll series. So my next one, I'm already starting to plan it out, is going to be Tom Petty. And it's going to be some great rockers. Most of them are people who we lost and everything else, but a few. There's one I'm planning to do that I'm really concerned about. It's Stevie Nicks. I really want to do a Stevie Nicks, but that one's going to be really hard. So, but it's just so much fun. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did.
Sorry, the dogs even want to get into the freaking act. What the heck is going on here, man? What the heck? But seriously, and so that just inspired me to say that seriously, we got to start somewhere with knowing where our artistic starts and where it doesn't and whatnot. But that's your first try.
It's my first time, and one of the beautiful things with working with acrylic paints is you could just keep going over it. I think I did the hair 4 different times, and I just kept going over it until I found a style that I liked. And but that's why I like doing my music too. I don't have to be a great singer. I don't have to be a great composer. Just to have music and light myself up and play music and everything else. So music and now some art. And I enjoy writing too. Somewhere in my house, and I've got to find it, is a collection of poetry that I've written. And I'm kind of looking at bringing that back out and really embracing the creative side of myself and seeing if I can push it a little bit further. Before I push off this mortal coil, I'd like to put some more art out there, I think.
Well, it's funny because I used to write all the time. I used to write free verse, and my ex-husband was like, "You suck." And I went and wrote for Blue Mountain, and I sucked enough back in 2000 to make $2,000 in royalty for writing. So it wasn't that bad. I mean, thank heavens, though, back then they didn't have my name to it. So I said, I don't care if it I got paid for it, didn't have my name on it and whatnot. But seriously, it's just a matter of practicing and whatnot. But you never know until you try. And so,
Michael, thank you very much.
So, but again, you never know till you try. And like I said, I think it was really cool that your mom tried that. And if she didn't, she would have never known what she could do with it. And it was at first just to pass the time. And again, I bet you more than anything, she was like, I don't care how this comes out, but it was something to do. So
Yeah.
the inhibition or the point of her having any expectations or concerns of how good it was really, like, good example, like when I had friends that were doing graphics and I would do graphics at first, I'm like, there's no way I could be as good as such and such. And so you always
Yeah.
have that level of, not knowing how to shadow or pop things out and whatever. And I look at my work then compared to now, and I'm even always getting better, but and only the people that do graphics are going to know, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. But other people are like, oh my gosh, you're fantastic. And of course you sit there and go, well, no, I didn't do this. And I know I didn't do that. And, so I mean, it's the eye of beholder, like maybe a
Yeah.
professional artistic would probably chew that up and say, oh, I could tell you 10 things you did wrong. And yet somebody like me that doesn't know would think it's a masterpiece. So you know what I mean? Like, who cares? And yet to a little kid, it would be like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing is that, and again, all the kind words. Thank you, everybody. And, Sandy and Nicole, guys, thanks for joining us, and everybody. Thanks for all the kind words too, as well. But the art supplies were gifted to me at Christmas. Somebody, because they heard me talking, and if I were waiting on my own, I still would not have bought them, because I'm like, well, they're still in the back of my head. I'm not going to be any good at it, or it's not going to be good, or I'm not going to like it. And because somebody bought me the stuff, I went ahead and I did it. Now, one thing, I hope Therese doesn't mind me sharing this, but she, to occupy some of her time, has started getting really back into tie dyeing, which she is so good. She's making shirts that you can't find them that good in the stores, and they're really awesome. I'm really impressed with her talent with the tie dye stuff, and I don't have the patience for that. I mean, I did it with them. We did it all together once, and I was like, okay, I just don't have the patience. But there's too much dry time. There's too much overnight stuff, and there's too much, but she does a great job with it. But but the fact that somebody gifted me that stuff for me to just say, okay, what the hell? Now that I've got the stuff, let me try. And thank God they did, because now I'm hooked. One painting and I'm hooked, and I want to keep going. And I encourage people, instead of next time you're going out and buying things for your kids or for your godchildren or your nieces and nephews, stop buying them all the toys and the junk and everything else. Buy them something musical, or buy them something artistic. Buy them you're welcome, Teresa. Excellent work. But buy them something that's going to release their creative side. Michael wants to know how much I'm going to sell it for. How much you got, brother? You know what? I couldn't sell this one. If I was going to sell it, I would sell it to my friend Bill McClinton from Syracuse, New York, who he and I grew up together, and he was an Elvis impersonator for a period of time. Huge fan. And he loved it, but I can't sell it. It's my first painting. It's going to stay with me.
Lenny's right. Look at that.
Michelangelo was a house painter, and look at him now. Yeah, look at him now. Yeah. He's dead.
Yep.
No, I know that's not what you're talking about.
You know what? That's how Lenny would talk.
Look at him now. That's how look at him now. He's a bag of bones.
Listen, that's what Lenny would say. That's exactly what Lenny would say. Lenny's gonna love you for that one. That's exactly what he would say. Oh, speaking of mom, hi,
mom. Mom, we just talked about you. We talked about your amazing paintings and how you inspired me to pick up brush and to start creating, and I appreciate it.
Well, it's just like good example. Like I've been really partial to one graphic designing thing, and now I'm just getting into Canva, and I've been really not wanting to be really create, and I'm still not. Because I feel like I'm just starting, and I keep changing the back graphics and all that, and I haven't even started, but I feel very inadequate because I'm learning. I want to do high tech stuff, so it's like starting over again to be creative. So again, it's well, okay. Bye, Lenny. I love you. Thank you for spending time. I really appreciate you. Love you. God bless you. Talk to you soon.
Lenny, take care. Thanks for being here.
Let's see. Hi, Karen. I love you. I'm still waiting for you to call, but that's for another show. Anyways.
Michael says it's the first piece. It might be worth a lot of money. Just get famous. You forgot the other part, Michael. They actually become worth a lot of money after I'm gone. So I got to get famous and die for this to be worth a lot of money. So I'm going to work on the first part. The second part, you're going to have to wait a little while on. All right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you ain't going nowheres anytime soon.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and it seems like the people we grew up with, the people who used to make us laugh, and the people who used to entertain us, they're dropping like flies now.
Yeah.
Sidney Poitier in the past week.
Yeah.
Sidney Poitier passed away, and there's Bob Saget. I know a lot of people don't like him, and then there was Betty White before that, and there's just been a whole series of people.
Yeah.
I just want to, I want to stick around a little while. I got to make it to 99.
Michael, I'll kick your butt. Shut up. So, anyways,
will it to me before you go. Michael wants me to will him the pen. I don't even know who you are, Michael.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, some guy I can see filling out my will with my lawyer. Yeah, this guy Michael I met on the internet. I want to give everything to him.
Oh yeah. So, anyways, but oh my gosh, I'm cracking up over here. So seriously,
but Lynn, you even doing stuff like this and getting into broadcasting, that's a creative art.
Mm-hmm.
It forces you, because people don't understand when you get in front of people or that you are doing a recording. Most people, when you turn the camera on, they freeze up. Or they put them in front of people and they can't speak. There's a lot of people out there like that. I've never been one of them, but for people to go out there and actually put themselves out there and think on the fly and do a show like this, that's very creative. So at one point you had to kind of cross over to that and believe in yourself, right?
You know, you're right. And I think more than anything, I do find that that's why I love my Live, Love, Laugh show. And that's why, like, while I'm taking time to do this health reassessment and things in my life, that I do put a lot of heart and soul into some of my shows that I personally do. And that's why if anybody watches my shows and my co-host, I do 3 shows with co-host Scott on Tuesdays, and Wednesdays Cheryl, and then Brian on Friday. You'll always see the pictures up on the top, but my host or my guest are always pictures on the bottom, is how I'm differentiating it, because I'm doing a TV network, and there's going to be pop-ups with Christopher Rausch and a bunch of people. I mean, Rex Sykes and I are going to be doing a show. I mean, like, there's just going to be so many different things. But yes, creativity. I love, I love theater. That's how we got to see each other their senior year. You saw me in the theater. I love being the behind the scenes person. So the one thing that everybody always wanted to do is see me in the front of the camera. And that's something I really, really, for years, I hid behind the camera. I just didn't want to be in front. And as much as I pushed to be behind the camera and not be forefront, I'm pushed in front of the camera, and I realized that it's my vulnerability, and it's a lot of the things that I didn't want to do that I knew that would haunt me if I didn't do them. And
well, I'm curious how you got over that hump, because there's a lot of people that can't. There's a lot of people that fear stops them, and they're afraid. I don't even know exactly what the fear is rooted in. If it's a fearful of just sounding silly or making mistakes, I'm not sure what that fear is.
Well, I think it's funny because I talk about my family in my book and things like that. But, in my family, there were, and in my book, that the beginning of my life, I had to learn really quick, especially after you were in my life the first time. After that, so much stuff happened in my life that I had to recreate myself. And just within my tribe and in my siblings, there was just so much traumatic stuff happening that I had to run away from what I was surrounded by and what I was being labeled within my own family, when they didn't even know I was sexually being abused. And my own siblings thought I was a tramp. My own siblings thought all these things that they didn't know what were going on, that they were miss whatever. So with that alone, I just felt I didn't have a safe place even at home. I never had a rest thing stop. So I didn't want the rest of the world to know I was sexually abused. I didn't want the world to know that I was already being criticized just within my family. And that was just among my siblings. And so long story short is I had to run away from the demons from being young, without having any self-development, without knowing who was on my side or who wasn't or whatever. I was very alone. And so comedy and TV were like the only escapes I had. And helping and consoling and coaching other friends in their relationships and making other people's relationships better than mine could be was always comforting to me. So I had to run from I could help everybody else's life, but I couldn't help mine. So I had to
Yeah.
recreate my life.
There's an
And
old
so
philosophy that we teach best what we most need to learn, right?
yeah, and not only that, but you know, it was like when I tell people, trust me, you don't want people to know that because, you know, it was like, trust me, you know, so I got to teach people and be there for people and help bridge many gaps when I couldn't bridge them in my own life. And so I just became really good at knowing that I was saving myself from my own self for a long, long time. And so, you know, that's how I got really wise. I got wise the hard way, but we all do, you know, it's a,
Right.
you know, hard knock life. But the performance arts really allowed me to help. Again, I just love supporting the actors. Love supporting a production. I know how a good production needs to be. I know what makes people laugh. I know that, you know, people watch a show because they're trying to get away from their own freaking life. They're trying
Right.
to get away from not thinking in their own, you know, space. So you better make what you're doing good enough that they're get something out of it. You know, what can I take from the table? So when I do my live, love, laugh, or I do any other shows or short shows or whatever, that's why you never know what Lynn's going to do, whether I'm going to tell a story or have a little meme or do something goofy or whatever. I do that because one, I'm just honored that they're taking time, but two, I just know that we we only we only grasp little things, snippets at a time. So to know that I take vulnerable times. I'm like, I appreciate people's time so much so that I'm like, if they're willing to be here, I'm willing to share a piece of me. And I think that that's important to say, that it's not easy for me to share what I share, but I think it's important to do it because I think I I value their time, so I value to share what you know comes to mind. And Patricia
Absolutely.
Watson, thank you so much for being here. So you know, it's it's important for people to get to know you and you to get to know them, and giving a piece of you is really you know an important thing, and that's why I love doing what I do, and I love creating laughter, and I love surprising people and appreciating people and doing all those things. So I guess, you know, I have found, even though I didn't like the camera and I didn't like, you know, getting acknowledged or anything like that, but I do like acknowledging people that don't expect it, because I never would expect it. And yet
Right.
they're, you know, like I said, you know, at ninth grade, I saw my friend, you know, he passed away, and I know that he was very shy and quiet, and, you know, and I'm like, man, if he would have known how many people really appreciated him and cared about him. That's why it's important for me to let other people see how important they are. And so my guests on my show on Live, Love, Laugh, they need to know that they're loved and appreciated by me and by the guest, and be honored. And that's why my interviews are different than anyone else's. So that's really important to me. So thank you.
Excellent, excellent. But
What
I
are you
think
laughing
you
about?
know, let's go back to our point that it's about us understanding that everyone has hidden talent. Everybody
Yeah.
has something special about them. Your story is your strength.
Yeah.
It can bury you as well if you choose. If you choose to
Yeah.
let your story bury you, if you choose to let your inadequacies or your imperfections bury you, they will. But if you choose to live in spite of them, and as a matter of fact, celebrate them, celebrate your imperfections.
Absolutely.
There's a comedian that came out not that long ago, and I can't remember his name. Maybe somebody else knows, but he was on one of these shows, America's Got Talent or something, and he stutters. It's a young
Oh,
kid,
yeah.
and he stutters. And you know, in the first moment I'm listening to him, I'm like, how is this going to work? And then as I listened to him, he took the imperfection of his stutter and made it something that is so much a part of him. It's no longer an imperfection, it's an advantage. And it's something that he's turned into a creative outlet. And now I see him and he's thriving, like doing huge clubs,
Mhm.
getting really big gigs. He's been in Vegas, he's been here and there. and he's doing fantastic. And it's like, I don't even think about the stutter anymore. I got to kind of think back, because when I'm hearing him now, even though he's still stuttering, I don't even hear it anymore, because
Yeah.
he's turned it into a part of his personality.
Yep.
It's like Bob Dylan's singing voice. You know, if I heard it for the very first time and didn't know anything about it, and it wasn't a part of music history, I'd probably listen to it and say, this guy, why is this guy even trying to sing?
Yeah.
But because he's taken that and he said, that is my talent. And he takes something that might seem like it's not a talent and turned it into a talent, where he can evoke so much passion and so much meaning in the songs he does, because he's not singing them the traditional wise. He's singing them like he's Fran Drescher with a head cold. It's just, no. It's amazing.
It's funny you say that, because like I'm a chronic migrainer, and sometimes, so neurologically, after I've had so many migraines, I'll slur my words because I take Topamax. So I'll slur my words, or I'll be like blah blah blah. So if I'm having a neurological day like that when I'm doing a show, I'll like tell my co-host, or I'll say, hey, I don't know. So then the words that come to me, or how I enunciate them, I have to start laughing. Like, some days I can't say compartmentalize, and I mean, I'll be like, meh, I'm I mean, like, it's and I just have to go, okay, I mean, I've had a couple, brain injuries too, and I don't
Right.
make light of them, but sometimes, I literally go, okay, that's one of the days that we can't go down that street today. It's like, we can't go down there today, and that's okay. But it shouldn't stop. But it's not my excuse to not go try, it's not
nobody's on every minute. That's one of the things,
Mhm.
is people think that if I have a talent, I have to be perfect at that talent for that talent to be recognized.
Right.
I think, I don't know if it was Lenny or Michael who brought up Michelangelo a little while ago. Are you sure there weren't days that he went out there and he's like, my hand's shaking, I can't paint, or it's just nothing's coming to me, and maybe go 3 or 4 days and just not be able to put any paint on the palette? There's probably times when we all go through that. The difference is having conviction in what you're trying to do and know it's worth doing. There's something that was told to me a long time ago. Anything worth doing is worth doing badly.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's worth doing it, not doing it perfect. I play golf. I'm not a great golfer, but I love playing golf. And I hit the ball in the woods more than I hit it in the fairway. And if there's water to be found, I will find it. And if there's a sand trap, I will bury my ball in the sand trap. And it's frustrating and it's miserable, but it's so much fun. It's worth doing, even though I do it poorly. And so I can enjoy that. So whatever you're going to try, you're going to learn to play guitar. You're going to play badly for a while. But if it's worth doing, it's worth doing badly. If you're going to learn piano, if you're going to learn to draw, if you're going to learn to do anything, or even paint or do art or something, it's worth doing badly and learning as you go. And that's all I can say. But you don't know those talents until you got to cultivate them. They don't normally just come out and say, wow. I mean, we're not all these, what are those kids, those idiot savant kids or something?
Yeah.
Because most kids are just idiots. They don't have the savant part. But the idiot savant kids who just like at 5 years old, they're composing a masterpiece. That's not reality. It's not what most people are. Most people, it's you practice and you do it over and over again, and then you find your talent.
Well, remember earlier you said you caught yourself, and we do this when we're getting compliments of paintings. You had stopped and you said earlier, you said, well, it's like when I did this painting, you were like, it took me 4 times of redoing the hair and the color.
Yeah.
Like you right there were questioning yourself, and you were like, so like I don't know if that was like trying to lessen the compliment or the insecurity of the compliment, or saying, well, it's not like I knew exactly what you know what I mean?
I think the point I was making when I was saying that is that I did it one way and I looked at it and I said, you know what? I don't like it, but I can make it different. And I made it different. And I said, that's not it either. Let me do it again. And by the 4th time I said, that's what I was looking for. Instead of just looking at it and not liking it and walking away from it, I worked with it until I got something that I could live with and I liked.
Right.
And that's what talent is taking time to do that. Only one person was made perfect, but if we keep trying, we will get somewhere. Yeah. I mean, I'm not chasing perfection, but I am trying to live with my imperfections to the best of my ability and to turn those into qualities that are worthwhile. Everybody's Everybody's got awesomeness in them. I just wish people would see it. I wish people could look at a mirror and say, you know what? I'm not perfect, but I'm pretty damn good. And I'm all right.
Well, I think it really comes down to the reason why we can't see awesome. And I was actually watching something today that reminded me this. And so I can't articulate the right way right now, but it's just basically like, when you're looking at the negative, you can't look at the positive at the same time as the gist. However, what I'm saying is same thing goes with the realization with my health. I realized that I was knocking myself down so much that when you knock yourself down and you're being negative, you can't see the positive in yourself. So what I'm saying is you can't see yourself being awesome if all you're doing is looking at the flaws. And
Absolutely.
I was looking at flaws. I'm looking at, flaws and realizing, these are the situations that I'm in and it's not going to get better. Whereas I realized that's belief system is wrong. The belief system is wrong. And you got to work on your belief system and say, why would you think that? Because nothing is concrete like that. That is not true. That's a decision or a thought that was placed in there from somewhere else. It didn't come from me. So,
right. I'm a Leo, so I'm pretty much. Hey, I'm a Leo too, brother.
I'm surrounded by many of them. That's all I got to say.
Andy Warhol said, make art, let other people decide if they like it while they are deciding, make more art. I like that.
I love that. I love that, Mama.
I mean,
I love that.
Wasn't Andy Warhol the one who did the soup can? The tomato soup can? Was that a Warhol piece? Somebody let me know if I'm right. But that was it was actually a can of Campbell's tomato soup he painted, and it became a classic art piece, like one of the most famous art pieces in pop art that's out there.
Yeah. Well,
and it's like, it's a picture. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What's the Campbell soup can?
But listen, the reason why your mama says that, but let's be honest, if you don't keep making art, then after they're done looking at the one art, they have nothing else to look at. So you got to keep making it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to find your style and you're going to find your way. Listen, when I first started singing, I wanted to sing like Bruce Springsteen. I wanted to sing like Elvis. I wanted to sing like this person or like that person. If I couldn't sing like Freddie Mercury from Queen, which nobody can, then I'm not a good singer. Instead of just trying to sing like Scott. Now, if I'm singing a Neil Diamond song, I throw a little rasp in there. If I sing an Elvis song, I curl the lip and I say, thank you very much. And, and I have some fun with it. But I'm not trying to be anybody else. I just got to be me. And that's, if you're always trying to be somebody else, if I'm trying to paint Andy Warhol stuff, unless it's my interpretation of his stuff, but if I'm trying to paint like his and have somebody walk in and say, wow, did Warhol do that? I'm never going to win. You always fail. If we're chasing other people, the only person you got to chase is your own demons, people.
It's funny because I was in the clubhouse today in Rex's room, and it's funny because this one girl was talking about, well, we can't all, it would be boring if we all sang like Elvis and we all sang like this and that. And I'm like, but wait a second. Don't tell that to all the Elvis personators out there that are making a living right now.
You know what? That's a good point because I hang out with a lot of tribute bands. Gary, who's in the Long Run, Eagles tribute band, and now he's in Wolfpack and these other bands. And all my friends were in these tribute bands. But one thing they understand is we are paying homage to the artist, but we're not trying to be that artist.
Right.
They know they're not them. They try to imitate them and do the clothing and do the voice and do all that stuff, but they're not trying to be them. And I think it's hard to make that separation at the beginning.
Right.
First, find your own voice. And then if you want to copy others for fun, do it. But find your own voice, whether it's singing. Find your own style if it's writing. Find your own canvas if it's art. Find your own style if you're podcasting or making videos. Stop trying. If everybody was trying to be Oprah, you're right. The world would suck.
That's right.
You get a car and you get a car. No. The world would suck if we were all trying to be the same person. The world is wonderful because it's this mixture of different people with different talents, and some talents, they're a little more hidden and they're a little harder to see. But as you get to know people, you'll recognize them, and it's such a great feeling when you see it in somebody else, and then you realize that they kind of like learn about it themselves, and you watch somebody grow into their talent, which is so cool. It's neat.
Like people say, they love to see my smile, and I'm like, I didn't get it. I didn't understand why. So that's why when I do my stuff on whatever, I'll take a picture and I'll just do a saying and I'll put a smile and everybody's happy. And I'm like, okay. But then when I saw somebody else's smile and I just saw like, oh my gosh, their smile and I could see the impact. I was like, okay, I get it now, you know? So I mean, it's one of those things where you just don't know the impact you have on somebody until you see it in them and you're like, wow, now I get the reflection. I get that, you know,
Right.
mirrored thing. So don't be so hard on yourself because you know, there's sometimes you know, if you guys haven't noticed, I love having someone else on the shows with me. I not gonna lie. This shit being on the shows is not easy for me. It's not, people. I do not like all the limelight. It's not like it's all about my show. I mean, I am going
Yeah.
to have a TV network. I love sharing the stage. I love being a producer. I love being executive producer. I love all that. I don't love being in front of the camera, but I know I have to do it. I know I have to make sure that people know that my heart and soul is in with what I'm building in this network. But again, I do this too because there's people like me that say, Lynn, I don't think I can do what you're doing. I'm like, oh shit, you can, because
Yeah.
obviously you don't see me always here being by myself talking to you. So I ain't all about sitting here just be like, la, 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 la. No, I don't. I
I,
don't. So
I've always been, out and in front of people, and I think when I was born, I stood up out of the incubator that they put me in, and I started doing a comedy routine for the doctors and nurses in the room. It's just the way I was made. But I've always been terrible at the one-on-ones. I've always been really great with the crowds and terrible with the one-on-ones. And that's why my business partner and best friend Karen and I have this business that she is awesome with these one-on-ones. People would call and she would stay on the phone with them and help them because we deal with addiction, we deal with mental health, we help people. And I'll do these large groups. And in front of the large groups, I just that's my alley. That's what I love. And then people come up to me afterwards and want to talk to me one on one, and I'm just like, "You sure you don't want to talk to Karen?
so,
This
so
is
again,
not my style." But I've learned a lot from her about being better with the one on one, and she's learned a lot from me. I mean, to a point, she went out and did her own training and with a huge group today, and did her own thing and had a great time, and we've learned a lot from each other that way. And that's something else is when you're trying to learn to be about your own talents and stuff, find people that do things that you enjoy and kind of buddy up with them and kind of like learn from them.
yeah,
Having a mentor in whatever you want to do, like honestly, my mom is my mentor for my art. She had to tell me this is how you got to put paint on the palette. I mean, you can't just, I was just going to paint right on the canvas. Turns out you got to put gesso on it. You got to do this, you got to do that. And she told me all this stuff. So I needed that guidance. And she gave me helping hints along the way, which was really awesome. So find a mentor. If you got a talent or something you want to be good at, find somebody who can mentor you to bring out the best in you. Don't
ask the
try to be like
questions.
them, but somebody to bring out. You had to learn some of your skills from people, even doing this kind of stuff. You had to look at other people and talk to people, right?
Yeah, some of it I
Yeah.
figured out myself, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I
Yep,
mean, when I first started doing radio,
exactly.
I was learning from guys who started in radio back in 1939, and they were teaching me about radio. Of course, back then, it's like, yeah, we rode the horse and buggy to the radio station. I'm like, no, 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 no.
No,
But
that's
they,
in Montana.
yeah, which they're still doing. Uh, but find somebody who has a talent that you like, something you want to bring out of yourself. If I want to learn how to golf, I don't go out there and just start swinging the sticks. I go out there and I talk to somebody, or I get somebody to show me which club do you use to do this and what club do you use to do that, and how do you swing the club. You don't have to take full lessons, but just get a helping hand. And always do things with people who are better than you because it elevates you.
Mhm.
When I go out and play golf, I like to play with people who are going to beat me because it makes me play better. I don't want to just go out and beat people every time I play.
And Scott, I want to say that if anything, if you're having a hard time realizing what a good person you are, start hanging around with people that do look up to you or that really care about you or that like you, because and start asking them the questions. Why do you like me? Or what do you see inside me? Or whatever. Because like I said, I think I think to a point you've really got to break down yourself and really, really mesh all parts of you, accept things about you for your awesomeness to come out. because
Right.
I really have had to humble myself to say, Lynn, you do good coaching people. You do good this and that, and you do whatever. But I just haven't been nice to myself, and I've had to like do the wake up call and say, I haven't been nice to myself. I've been nicer to everybody else than I've been to myself. And so all I'm saying is you cannot see how much grace you have and how much compassion. I would say to people, how can you see if I'm, you know, I don't think I'm all that. And people would tell me things, and I'm like, I don't see it in myself. And that's because I've allowed some bad people to let me spoil the image of what I could see in myself. And so, I need you to remember, look within yourself. And I mean, I knew I was a good person, and I know all that, but and I'm talking riddles right now, but all I got to say is that I've had some health conditions, and I felt pretty fat and ugly, and come to find out I'm not obese. I just look that way because I have a lot of inflammation in my body. So I was treating myself like a fat girl, people. And so come to find out that's not the case. And
Yeah.
it's been very eye-opening and very hard for me. And so, I'm giving myself grace because I realized that I'm a skinny girl trapped in a swollen body, and I haven't been very kind to myself because society does not give us kindness to people that look overweight and look like they just need to eat a salad, and that if they, why are they in a handicapped spot, or why they need a scooter or things like that. And I was one of those people, wondering why or whatever. And needless to say that, my kids were even nice when I got a handicap sticker once, and I was just really embarrassed to even have a handicap sticker because I was like, why are my legs swollen, and why am I having a hard time walking, kind of thing. But it's a humbling thing to go through. And the humbling thing is that I didn't have compassion for myself. I'm like, former athlete and bodybuilder. No, pain, no gain. I didn't realize that I was having pain for a reason, and I let it go too long. So all I've got to say is that I've got to be kinder and nicer to myself because I haven't been. And so now I really have to realize that I am that thin girl stuck in a swollen body, and that I was very uneducated on my health condition. And so I'm trying to forgive myself right now, people. And that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm still trying to hide, and I'm still trying to forgive myself. And one thing I do love to do is dance. And
Right.
yet I'm going to force myself, and this is because it's very vulnerable, but damn it, you guys, I'm keeping myself accountable, and I'm saying it right here. I think by next week I got to get over my fucking self, excuse my language, but I got to get over myself, and I got to start doing videos with me dancing and showing my booty, showing my body. And that's going to kill me because my pride. But you know what, I've got to do it. I've just got to
Right.
do it. I've got to accept the swellingness in my body and love myself for where I'm at right now. And I mean, technically, and I mean, I have medical doctors saying you're not obese, you have swelling in your body. And yet I'm not accepting it because that's not what I see.
Right.
And,
Right. It's not what
so
you're taking the judgments of others, and
yeah.
and you apply it
So,
to yourself. And women
yeah.
especially have been
But
suffering that for a long time about what you're supposed to look like and how you're
yeah,
supposed to, and do this. And uh, and here's the deal where you're, because of those judgments, you made the assumption that it was one thing when the truth is it was a medical condition. That
yeah,
had you not been feeling all that shame and judgment, maybe you would have seen about the medical condition sooner.
yeah, yeah,
So you can see how things like being shameful and feeling bad about yourself can actually keep you from even life-saving stuff. So
yeah,
please just don't do
yeah.
that. Don't hide. And the next time somebody insults anybody for using a handicap sticker, then you turn around and you say, listen, I know they're giving out mental handicap stickers now. Why don't you go down and get yourself one? There you go.
Well, and I mean, this is really hard for me to say this, you guys, but now I'm going to keep myself accountable and say, and I'm going to try not to freaking cry right now, you guys. But I mean, just the idea of freaking dancing in front of a camera is going to scare the crap out of me. And I'm just going to have to love myself. But the funny thing is I would never be like this for anybody else. I never judge anybody else for being
Right.
the way I am right now. I would never judge anybody. but I'm freaking still hard on myself for where I'm at right now. So I'm trying to get over myself with this, you guys. So, and I know I'm an awesome person, but I'm really upset that I was this mean to myself. So anyways,
Well,
I'm off of that shit.
it's
And I'm
time to
just
do
gotta
something
dance.
different. It's
I
time
gotta
to move on and
dance.
do something different. It's right. Start dancing, start celebrating.
So,
And
yeah.
now that you've discovered it's not what you thought at all, now you deal with that in whatever way you have to. And we all move along and we all do what we need
Thank
to
you
do.
guys. I appreciate that.
And in time, I'm in shape. Round is a shape.
And well, it's just I love health and fitness. I just do. I
Yeah.
love health and fitness, and it's just it's against me right now. And but it is, and I guess the people that do know otherwise of me, well, you know, we can all have the joke and whatever, but it's hard, and yet, you know, but I do know that I have to be the voice for those women that are trapped like I am too. And so I know that I will stand for those women, and I think because of that, I think I can get through this because
Absolutely.
you know, and I it's hard though, Scott, too, because I went on some dates where some guys were really, really rude, really rude, you know, and I was like, well, shit, I'll just lose the weight and we'll see about that.
Listen, I
And
think we can ask all the female fans and even the male fans. Guys are rude anyway. Guys are rude anyway.
I know.
They don't need an excuse to be idiots.
I know, but what I'm saying is like, you know, I'm like, well, okay, I am skinny. I even have a medical doctor things here. Like, I'm not obese. I don't have all these conditions and all this stuff. I just look well. It's like the Shallow Hal movie. It really is freaking what it is.
Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, the only person that you're on this earth to please is you.
Oh, I know.
And certainly,
don't worry.
I think we all have a responsibility to take care of each other and to make this a better place for ourselves, our families, our friends, and our communities. We all have a responsibility, certainly. But our first responsibility is to our own health, our own mental health.
Yeah.
And no matter what size you are, no matter what condition you have, no matter what abnormality, no matter what misgivings or imperfections, you're you. You're the only one. You're the only one. And somewhere inside there, there's something really special about you. And when you start to bring that out and you start to live in it, not just bring it out, not just for the praise, but to live in it and to know that somewhere in the back of my head now, there's a little part of me that believes I'm actually an artist. And that's actually like a nice piece for my life. It feels good.
You know, and the weirdest thing that the only thing that justifies and helps me with this is I love Jerry Lewis and I loved watching the telethons, right? And the only thing that gave me peace of mind. Yes, I love him.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting Jerry Lewis.
Shut up. I love the Jerry Lewis.
Hey, lady.
Hey, lady. Yeah.
Hey, lady.
My brother Mark would do that. But it because of the comedy and the laughter, right? And so one year he got really swollen because of his health, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think it was medications he was on. Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, oh, I still love him. And he was all swollen and, you know, and I knew he was sick. So I was like, you know what? I'm just like Jerry Lewis. I'm a little fluffy. And I loved him just like that too. So I'm like, I can empathize with that. I can understand that. But that's what I'm saying. It's like having that compassion and understanding. So I've always had a compassion when I see somebody, you know, and I always know health wise and all that. I'm just mad that I never had compassion for myself at that level. Like I let go of my intelligence and was so freaking hard on myself that I was just upset that I wasn't as kind as I could be to everybody else. That's why I say we are awesome and we just got to let go of that.
Paul's making a great point right here, Lynn. Guys get a bad rap from women when they're fat, and women don't like fat guys. Some women don't, or most women don't. I don't know if they do or they don't, you know. But it's like when people start to appreciate themselves, you'll look at other people differently too.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when somebody is spewing venom at me, if somebody's spewing hatred or meanness towards me, there's only one place that comes from is within them, which means they're full of venom and they're full of negativity.
Yeah.
People who are full of positivity don't spew negative thoughts at others.
No.
So when somebody's giving you a hard time because of how you look or because of something about you, you know, I want you to think back is like, where's that coming from? Mm-hmm. Because it's not coming from a healthy human being. A healthy human being won't do that to another human being.
Yeah.
And guess what? Do you want to be with somebody who's going to be like that? You
Well,
don't.
you know what's funny is my dad's been on my butt about my weight and all this stuff, right? But now he knows about my condition. Oh my gosh. You better not even want to say the word fat or nothing. My dad feels so bad. No, no, you okay? I knew something was wrong. I
I
knew
was
something
guilty.
because because I knew something was wrong because you're skinny out of his ass, but I knew something was wrong. No, 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 you'll be okay. I'm praying. You'll be okay.
Take advantage of the guilt. Say, hey, Dad, I need a car.
Yeah. So
Remember
no,
the time you called me fat? Well, send me a car now and you'll feel better.
yeah. So now
Take advantage of it.
yeah, so he does feel really bad.
Oh.
He prays double now every day. So
Well, Lana, our half-hour show has turned into
yes,
50 minutes.
I know. We got to get going, and everybody, thank you for being here, and thanks for hearing my sob story and all that. But you see, that's the thing. If we go this long, people know that I stuck some stuff in there that I wouldn't have sprinkled anywhere else.
Right.
And I feel like when we go long like this, Lynn gives you shit that you wouldn't hear anywhere else. And then I'm always like, oh, good, I left those nuggets over there, and they're gonna have to go to YouTube and find it. And if they don't find it, they'll never find it. But I said it and I left it there, And that's what I
Gotcha.
love about our shows.
And I think I especially love this one because, if there's anything I need, I want to convey to people, it's that you're exactly who you're supposed to be. You might
At
not be
any given time.
might not be living your best life. You might not be living your authentic life. You might have fallen into tragedy, trauma, and despair. You might have fallen into alcoholism and drug addiction. You may have developed mental health, PTSD, other problems. There may be things that have taken you away from your authentic self, but when it still exists at your core. And if you could reach in and find that again, if you could reach in and find the joyful child that you were, and find the kid that played on the playgrounds and jumped off the swings and did those things, and try to reconnect with that and build and find the talents that exist in there, then what'll happen is all the negativity you've picked up along the road, whether it's a needle, a bottle, or just judgment and shame, you can let go of those things and just be your true authentic self, and know that your authentic self is good enough. It doesn't have to impress anybody. It doesn't have to please anybody. It's only got to impress and please you. And if there's any message I want to get through, that's what I want people to know. There's people out there that are dying every day because they've fallen into things that they don't know that there's a way out. There is a way out, and it's always through your true authentic self.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Michael, for the kind words.
Both
really,
great. Always look fun. Oh, thank you so much, Michael. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So all I gotta say is, oh, here we go.
It's why I'm going through the gastric bypass surgery at the end of the month. Amazing show, Paul. Good luck with that, and remember that what you're doing is giving you a boost in the right direction, and then you're in the driver's seat, my friend. Take control of your life and find your authentic self in there. If you're doing this, obviously you're not pleased with where you're at, but figure out who you're supposed to be and be that. Just do it. Just do it, brother.
And we're here for you. We're here for you. And remember, it's a tool. It's a tool. And that was the thing. And we found out, and when I talked to the gynecologist therapist yesterday, I was even thinking of gastric bypass, because I'm like, what the heck? And come to find out, I don't even eat enough. Scott, I was with you how many days? How much did I eat?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it was like
little, yeah.
It made no sense. Like, how am I? Why am I, when I'm this big and I don't even, So long story short, we just didn't know what was going on with me, is what it was. But again, they even said, why do you want to get this done? So I mean, and they're very good, and the therapist and everything, they know why and whatever. And they found out that I had gastroparesis, which is something that can happen when you have that surgery. So I send a lot of prayers and everything, and let us know.
Let us know how you do, please.
Yes, please do. We're here for you, because that's just one part of the tool, and the rest is. What are you laughing about?
Oh, years ago, people didn't even know what gastric bypass surgery was.
Thank you, Scott.
Gastric bypass sounds like something you heard on Star Trek. Aye, Captain, we can't go through the gastric bypass. I mean, you didn't even know what it was. And now it's like, it's normal. But just remember, I've seen people fail at that, because what they failed to realize, that's just the step to get you going, so that you can take control. And you are the one that is in control of your life. Don't believe anything different. You're the one in control of your life. And once you get this jump start with the bypass, and God bless you, I hope the best for you, Paul. But just take control of your life, man. There's no other way to put it.
And I know Scott will say the same. The fact that you were willing to just put that on there means the world to
absolutely.
me.
Absolutely.
That just, I mean, that was like, that meant so much to me. That's just like me sharing my heart and soul. I mean, when we can be vulnerable and share these things that we keep dear to ourselves because we feel like nobody else will understand, when we can share that and realize, and that's what I was going to say earlier too, is that when we realize that we can have the say in the narrative, I feel like if I don't come out and tell my story, and if I don't start dancing and having fun and accepting my story, I have to break the fact that, okay, I know that I'm not obese anymore. The world needs to know that I do have a condition, but I'm going to be happy and accept my condition, and I'm going to live for how many more days I have this way. And I'm going to get the swelling down and whatever. I'm going to have the best quality I can and leave the best memories I can behind. And I'm grateful, Paul, that you shared that with us. And we're hoping that you have better memories and every day is better for you as you go down that journey. So I know we're both here for you for that. So we want to thank you guys. We just want to grow with you guys. We just want to share these things that we all go through. What we think is secret is not secret. We all are going through the same thing. They're just different stories. So we appreciate you, Scott Ricard, and I love you guys. And we look forward to next week with you guys, God willing. And again, thanks for being with us.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Grab your friends.